The things that Christians are actually doing to oppress devotion to the deceased, to the Blessed Virgin Mary and the Rosary, to some sort of a spiritual mother figure, what has been done to oppress that is actually, I can guarantee you, it is causing crime and serial killings and rape and misogyny here in America. Because there are some people, they need to bond with a mother figure, like praying the rosary or Hail Marys, a spiritual entity that is female, that can be a companion with them, someone probably who is forever young. When the Virgin Mary appears to these people, even though she's thousands of years old, they say she looks like she's about 16. So having a companion who is who calms you down, who calms your wrath, your anger, your rejection issues, the hatred you have for yourself, somebody who loves a person not in spite of their brokenness, their woundedness, their criminal history, the abuse they have endured, their sins, their vices, their drug addictions, their sexual addictions, whatever. Someone who doesn't just love you in spite of that, but actually loves you so much more because of that, because a good mother knows that the child who is very sick is the child she wants to have focus on, the children that are, they drive a nice car and have a good job and they got all these friends or whatever. That's not, the mom doesn't worry too much about that. I mean, the mother is so happy when she sees the child if she's a good mom and she's got a child who's very dysfunctional and he's very angry, he's always breaking things, because that was the case with me. Like the other kids, they all had problems, but I was the guy in the mental institutions. I was the guy that, stabbed somebody and repeatedly went to jail, and nobody knew what the hell was wrong with me, and nothing actually worked, okay? And that is why I get very angry at Christianity and Islam, okay? Even though Christianity I will point out, for 1,500 years, Christians actually did have devotion, not just to the Virgin Mary, but to a lot of women, okay? Even though there's still a lot of misogyny and a male priesthood and a lot of things that I don't like. But now the Protestants, I understand why Protestants are going to be angry at the Catholic Church. So they're going to say Bible alone and reject all that other stuff. Because the Catholic Church was doing a lot of abuses, killing some very good people, killing saints and stuff. So, it's okay to be very angry if you've got a very wealthy, powerful institution that is persecuting people. But in the process of that, they have destroyed. So this country would be so much better because it's Protestant America, and we are the serial killer capital, where over 60% of the serial killers in the whole world are convicted in America. So we have more serial killers than all other nations combined. And with the school shooting shit, it's also freaking, it's ridiculously high in America. There's a curse in this Protestant America. You didn't see it in fascist Italy, and fascist Italy was just fine. He was in power for almost 23 years, and he did everything he could to try to stop World War II. He was the first military enemy of Adolf Hitler, putting weapons and troops and artillery and tanks on the border with Austria, calling upon the Allies to help him stop the annexation. Hitler sent weapons to Africa to fight Mussolini. So they were the first military enemies. He did not like Hitler. Fascism and Nazism are not the same thing. Fascism was extremely supported by the Jewish people and by Mussolini's Jewish mistress that he shared a bed with for 20 years, and he specifically chose to only see a Jewish dentist, Orthodox Jew, and to have his household open to Jewish children, never criticizing anybody about their Jewish identity. And he was a bigger Zionist trying to create Israel than the Jewish people were. I mean, after his conquest of Beta Israel in Ethiopia, he calls upon the Jews in America for financial help and says, I want to create Israel and Palestine. So people don't have a freaking clue what fascism actually is. They haven't even read the doctrine of fascism. And it's very tragic that he sided with Nazi Germany. But what I'm trying to say is this. If in fascist Italy, how many school shootings do you think there were? In fascist Italy, there probably wasn't a whole shitload of serial killers and rape and a lot of things. And actually, the Italian military they were found innocent of freaking war crimes. I mean, in war, there's going to be criminals in a war like that. I mean, on multiple sides, but as far as no, they tried to put Mussolini on the list of war criminals because he was killed in cold blood without a trial, and he was found more innocent of any atrocities in World War II than like Napoleon. And Napoleon was exiled twice. They didn't even give him the death penalty, and Napoleon was actually guilty of more crimes against humanity, against a larger percentage of the European and African population than even Benito Mussolini was. Benito Mussolini was a slave abolitionist in Africa. You know, he said a lot of, he was like Moses going to, or Abraham Lincoln, and setting the captives free from slavery. And the slavery in Ethiopia was freaking barbaric, man. They would cut off a hand and a foot off people. When they won the Battle of Ottawa, they took all of their black prisoners and cut off one hand and one foot and just let them live without medical care and wait to die and go crawl to a river. And so, you know, he was dealing with, he was trying to make things more civilized when he was, when he did his conquest of Ethiopia as well. And he also wanted Rastafari Emperor Haile Selassie, who occupied the Solomonic dynasty that descended from King Solomon's son, Menelik. Mussolini sent him gifts and an airplane and told him, I want you to remain as the king of the dynasty, and we'll have a Roman Empire together. But the British told him he was lying, it was a trick, and had him flee to Great Britain. So I don't know, man. What I'm trying to say is, so fascism was very Catholic, and it was very female dominant. The spirituality of fascism, it was a kind of female dominant spirituality. Mussolini kind of did not like his father, kind of like Jacob. Jacob had no loyalty to Isaac, and he had great loyalty and devotion to Rebecca. And Mussolini means Jacob. They both worked really, really hard, harder than most guys will ever work, and took risks that most guys will never take to get married to a woman named Rachel. And Rachel means you, and she has my birthday, April 11th, okay? So it's like, I am you, I have your birthday. And you means pet lamb in that case, or female sheep. And Rachel, I'm not going to get into it, but it didn't turn out very well in the scriptures. You know, Jacob actually cursed her, not knowing he was cursing her because someone stole some idols from some guy, and he said, may whoever stole those items die. And then, you know, Benjamin came out, and Benjamin's called a wolf, and she called him the son of her pain. He kills her coming out. And Benito, people call him Ben, or Benny, and that's another name for Benjamin. And he was obsessed with the capital line wolf. He restored the Roman Empire with his conquest of Ethiopia and Somalia and Libya, and so he had a small Roman Empire, and he worked an economic miracle. The biggest miracle that he worked there was actually a spiritual miracle. He created an independent Vatican City state in a country that was wanting to go communist and secular, and there were saints that were trying, really holy saints that were trying in vain to do what he did, to get prayer back into schools and to create like an independent Vatican City state. And I'm not here to say like, oh, there's anything great about the Vatican, but what I am saying is this: the Protestant sola scriptura, everything has to be in the Bible. Bible alone. Bible is the final it's the final authority on sacred scripture theology. On what you believe and do has to be supported by the Bible. That there's nothing in the Bible that says that. So that is a false doctrine. If you believe everything has to come from the Bible, you are preaching dangerous shit that can create a serial killer. Because my healing came from people visiting me from the other side who were female, okay?